What's going on, everybody? It's your girl, Ray P. Welcome back to another episode of the We Got Y'all podcast. You know, I'm not here alone. I am joined by my amazing, altruistic,
Oh
funny
shit!
as hell,
Hold
culture, well traveled, well versed in the grapes of wrath.
on.
My pleasure, Kyron, aka K Rich. What's going on?
What's going on, Ray P? We pulling new words out.
You
We
know,
pulling new words out. You know the thesaurus. Damn, I can't talk either. One thing for those of you who are new to this whole product, this culture garden, we got y'all the whole nine. Rachel and myself. Um, I've always complimented Rachel and always envied her large bag of vernacular.
for sure.
It runs deep. She's well versed when it comes to vocabulary. Even started having me. She didn't have me, but she inspired me to start doing word of the days. I've been meaning to put word of the days into our episodes on the days we record. I don't always remember, but yeah, that's just, Ray P is one of my favorite people in the world. You all know that if you've been around for a while. If you haven't, you will quickly find out. Wouldn't rather be here with anyone other than her. And I'm excited to be back with you for another episode of We Got Y'all. Rachel, we were just talking, kind of doing some housekeeping before we started recording about what's in the lineup for We Got Y'all. And it is a full slate for the next couple of months.
For sure.
A lot of good TV coming out. We're not going to talk about everything episodically. There will be shows for sure. We're covering episodically. The next big one, as we've been teasing, House of Dragons Season 2.
Be ready.
Rachel nor myself have ever been on any platform and discussed anything Game of Thrones related. So the fact that this is going to be our first opportunity to dive into the world, we are extremely excited. One of my favorite things to discuss are the fish out of water concepts. Black people discussing things like Game of Thrones, them thrones on Twitter. Shout out to my good earner brothers, because we've been talking about what series to discuss next. Spike and myself want to call it Niggas on the Throne. Mo is against it. But, you get the concept. It's going to be a full cultured experience onto what happens in the world of Westeros and whatnot. So we are excited. We've been waiting for quite some time for that to come back. And we're going to give you all 10 episodes. I believe it's 10, not 8. Yeah, I believe it's 10 episodes. So we're excited about that. Obviously, the Bear is coming out. You know our gripes with the Bear. We would cover that, except for they do not release those episodically. If you're familiar with We Got Y'all, we have more of a conversation piece around the shows that come out week by week. We will have a discussion. However, I'm not sure how we'll navigate. Maybe we'll break it down into 2 or 3 episodes. Because if you're like me, you'll probably watch the whole season within 3 to 4 days, which I still don't understand why they don't just dominate that timeline. I don't know why you don't want 2.5 weeks of coverage on your show, but that's not for us to decide. We have the final season, or part 1 of the final season of Ghost on Stars. So that's coming up as well. I know pretty soon we're going to be expecting a release date for Harlem. And I keep saying there's another show that I can't think of right now, but I know we're going to be covering other things. Bel Air is coming back in August.
For sure.
I think Rachel and I said we're going to discuss that. So a lot of stuff coming for the summer.
So just be ready. It was quiet for Q1, but we're back, guys. It is.
Rachel, is this the most active we've been or will be?
This coming summer. Well, last summer we were pretty active.
We were.
So we'll see. It's going to be up there for sure.
Absolutely. But before we get started, we are talking about The Chi streaming on Paramount Plus. So please make sure you have that. You're subscribed to that. If you want to watch the show, there will be spoilers in case you haven't seen the latest episode. So you might want to catch up with that before we get into today's conversation. And shout out to Ahmad Nicholas Ferguson and Amari Noel Ferguson. We have been discussing how there is no way that Bakari and Brittany aren't related in real life. They just look way too similar. and found out this past weekend that they are indeed siblings.
Yes.
Not twins like some of the internet might have you believe, but they are siblings. And that was cool to see because I'm like, there's no way. Even though they did a great job with Keisha, Kevin, and their mom, they look like a real family. I really haven't confirmed that they're not, but I don't think so. I think I would have seen that by now. Yeah. I did want to just shout that out. Did you know they were siblings, or was that news to you as well?
No, it was news to me when I saw the clip.
Yeah. I was like, there's no way the casting is this good. Like, they have to be related in some sense, and it works out perfectly for them. Rachel, I got a question for you.
Yes.
Are you a Reddit user?
No.
Okay. You are familiar with Reddit,
yes.
Being well versed in. I'm not necessarily a Reddit user. I haven't been. I downloaded it maybe within the past year for something. I can't remember what it is, but for some reason, my Reddit picks up on the things that I'm searching, discussing. I don't put in these searches. I've never actually put in a search for a Reddit thread or subgenre, whatever they call it, subthread. I don't know what the language is over there. But ever since we've been discussing the Shy, I've been getting alerts automatically from Reddit and users talking about the Shy. And I want to kind of discuss it with you because
you gotta ask these apps not to track.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I definitely do, because we are in that iRobot time. And the reason I want to bring it up is because, like I said, I will randomly, whether it's noon on a Thursday, whether it's 6 p.m. on a Saturday, I'll get random alerts about the Shy. And they're from users. For those who aren't familiar, Reddit is just like any other corner of the internet. It's all user-based. There are people. It's almost like the old school chat rooms.
Yeah.
Or the blog spots. People just share their thoughts on a specific topic. Maybe one day we got y'all. Maybe y'all out there will make a We Got Y'all Reddit and discuss us. But maybe not, because based off of let's say maybe not. Reddit, disclaimer, Reddit is the place where miserable people go to discuss life. And shout out to anybody who uses Reddit. I don't mean that as a diss, but by and all, Reddit is just more so a sounding board of stuff people don't like. It's not too much like, hey, I appreciate this. This is doing a good job. And what I've been finding out recently from these posts are that people don't like the Shy. Not the people who are listening to We Got Y'all, of course, but there are a lot of people who are not happy with the Shy and not happy with how the direction of the show has been going. A lot of people are stuck in season 2 and the promise that the show had and kind of the turns that it took from there. There are a lot of people who have frustrations with the writing and upset that they feel like every character needs a storyline. What are your thoughts on this? I know you're not familiar with the whole Reddit dialogue, but what do you think about an overall or overwhelming piece of the population who are starting to turn on the Shy? Do you see that on the timeline? Do you feel the same way?
Well, so there's a couple things that's kind of loaded. While trying to promote all of these shows and my other Instagrams and actively also trying to decrease my time online is very tricky. So I catch a little bit of this and a little bit of that when I'm not getting on and getting off to do whatever else I would rather be doing. I have not seen a lot of discourse about the Shy online, whereas I guess I used to see a lot more. But also, correct me if I'm wrong, I saw the episode airing on Showtime, but I think that primarily it's on Paramount Plus. And then Showtime will later air the episode. It's not like the shows we've seen before where this is this guaranteed airtime and then it's also available immediately after or at the same time of airing on the app.
Yeah, you're correct in that. It's a little bit odd. If there are other shows like this, I'm not familiar. I'm not sure about the whole Paramount Showtime merger and how that's working and what the ins and outs are. I will say this, that I found this pretty interesting. When you look at the season rundown for the second part, you have the first 4 episodes that have a release date of Fridays, and then the last 4 episodes have release dates of, This upcoming week is going to be Friday as well, but the last 3 episodes are Sunday releases. I'm not sure if that means that it's going to air on Showtime and then the app. I guess we'll see. But that's specifically different from the first 5 episodes when it says, hey, Friday, May 31st. And then, like I said, the last 3 is going to shift to Sunday. We'll see how it works, but I don't know. It is a little bit different.
Okay. And so the next part of your question, I think that I touched on this in our first episode of covering The Chi.
Yeah.
I love this show, but hearing that there is resounding displeasure with some of the writing and the production is not surprising at all to me. I think that depending on what it is, I may or may not be in agreement. However, I think that it is still worth talking about. And I'm going to ride this thing till the wheels fall off. So no, I'm not super surprised that people don't really like The Chi. It's not the continuity has been off for a while with the storylines. So for people to pick up on that, I'm not super surprised. What are the critiques that you've been seeing?
Well, here's one that's very resounding, very unanimous. People hate Gemma.
Hate Gemma?
They hate Gemma.
Oh yeah, well, I felt like that when we first met.
They hate Gemma. Like that was one thing that I'm seeing. I mentioned a couple of the other things. One is just their overall writing and just how they treat these characters. And as I said earlier, I think it stems from people who have started the show from season 1, episode 1, who, and let's admit, if you're one of those people, it's a different show now than what it was then. There are a lot of things that factor into that. I think that's neither here nor there. I'm under the belief that if you're still talking about season 2 and we're currently in season 6, then you just gotta either stop watching, or let that shit go. I'm just one of those people. Like, let that shit go. Like, I don't want to watch a show and all my commentary is about how good it used to be. Like, enjoy what it is, and that goes to another thing I was gonna say. Sometimes you have to alter your expectations. You have to understand it ain't that no more, and kind of what I just said. Make the decision of, okay, I'm gonna ride it out. I'm one of those people. Unless it gets utterly ridiculous, if I start something, I'm gonna finish it because I'm invested at that point. But outside of that, there was a mention of Dre being written out the script, and that kind of seeming random and not tied up properly.
Correct.
There was a thread about main characters, and it feels like the show is trying to make everyone a main character. And why does everyone need a storyline? Why does Kenya need a storyline past Papa? Why does she need one past? Like, why is her and Zay having something? Like, it's just they feel like they don't know what they're doing, and they're trying to give us too much. Like I said, I think that's all subjective. I get it. I mean, it's a show, and you have another season that we know for a fact they're coming back for. Exactly. So you still have a story to tell, I think, and I hope almost, because I don't like to see stuff get trashed. It's not necessarily worthy of it. Okay, I like how it used to be. Cool. I'm thinking next season is going to be the last one.
Probably.
I don't know what else you're going to do, especially if we're really going to end this season with Alicia or Duda getting up out of here. Then it's got to be the last one. Because Duda, I think, is one of the main heartbeats of the show at this point.
So it's not going to be him.
Yeah, but I can't see it being Alicia either. I think it's going to be, maybe it could be Alicia, but also, and yeah, maybe it could be Alicia in the final season setting up the downfall of Duda, which we all know is going to happen. Duda's not walking away from the scot-free. Like, that's kind of the worst kept secret of everything. I also think that we've been mentioning people like Bakari. There have been mentions of other characters that might not make it past this season.
For sure.
That's how they kind of keep things fresh and alive. But yeah, another thing, and we can go ahead and get into the episode because this kind of relates to things that happened in the episode. Before we get into that, I want to give proper credit to some people. Once again, season 6, episode 12, titled City of Gold.
Yeah.
Directed by DeAndre Gosfield and Quincy Lanier Gosfield. Written by Christiana Ray Cullen. And one thing that some of the Reddit users have been pointing out is there's a theory going on that Ronnie, is it Ronnie? Is that Keisha's baby?
Yeah.
Yeah, Ronnie is actually the son of Nuck.
And not
the abuser.
Not her abuser.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a theory going on. It's they just think it. There's no rhyme or reason. Like I said, Reddit is take it with a grain of salt. It was just entertaining to me to read some of the comments from people.
Yeah. Okay. So if we run with that, Keisha would have had. I don't remember how long she was being held captive, but if that is the case, she would have been pregnant when she got there, which is fine. And when you look at baby Ronnie, I said it last week or maybe the week before, he looks like he's supposed to be Emmett's son. But if you say that Nuck is the father, then that makes a little bit more sense as well for the casting.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if they pop out with that, but I'm just curious to know what your thought was. Curious to know what your thoughts were on that. We don't have to spend too much time on it, but that's going somewhere. Obviously, that whole my baby's sick.
Yeah,
I need to find out this trait.
Okay.
You said what?
I don't think I want it, but okay.
Yeah, and that goes back to, like I said, some people, it's just you're trying to add on this story, and trying to figure out what's next. So I don't know if I want that either. The whole scene just kind of felt a little clumsy to me, even with Emmett kind of like you hear this baby crying.
Yeah.
And you get up on the seat after you say something, had this like disheveled look, like you didn't know. Like, all right, that's whatever. All right, Rachel. So before we get into, I guess, the characters, what were your overall thoughts on this week's episode?
Okay. Honestly, I did not love this episode. I'm very surprised because I was expecting something else coming off of last week. Maybe a bit more action. Maybe we got a lot. It's not that it lacked. I think there was an issue with the execution. And I may or may not have texted you. I know that I did, but I've never thought Tiff was dumb. And this is the first time I was like, oh, she's fucking stupid. Everybody is acting ridiculous and it's confusing the fuck out of me.
All right, let me ask you this. Hold on. Stupid or emotional, or two things can be true?
Tiff wasn't emotional. She was talking too fucking much.
But the reason she was talking is because it was Duda. She wanted Duda to hurt.
Why are you acting like Duda is not Duda?
That's a very fair point.
That's my issue with Tiff right now. It's my issue with Emmett. Like, if we know this man to be extremely dangerous, a killer, extremely violent, can make people disappear, has all the money and power, then he can fucking manage. Why are you talking to him like he's Nuck?
I'm not gonna hold you. I have issues with Duda this episode.
Duda is drunk and paranoid and afraid.
Yeah, the way Duda's moving does not make any sense whatsoever. And we'll save it. I'll save it until we get to him. But to your overall point, people are acting crazy. They're acting dumb, and it doesn't make any type of sense.
No sense for everyone to have been living in fear. And I guess I'm just gonna start.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start with Tiff because she pissed me off. Okay, so the show opens. We see Bianca and Duda doing what they do in the cigar lounge, which is strange because why y'all not in the back? Why y'all just out, in the open carrying on? And Tiff walks in.
That was weird. Like, it's one thing if the spot's closed, but I see workers moving stuff.
That
y'all just out here willy-nilly.
They don't give a fuck. It's Duda. And so Tiff walks in and she's obviously put off. I understand you hate this man. I understand you're fearful of this man. But for her to I think that she could confront Bianca in their first scene together. But I really liked Bianca saying, what does that have to do with you? Yeah. That's the problem with Tiff and everybody else. Y'all worried about shit that don't have nothing to do with you. And you're not well versed enough in any of these worlds. Your arms are too short to box with God. Mm-hmm. So what the fuck are we doing? So we learned that Tiffany, I'm gonna call her Tiffany, in her disdain and disgust for Duda, when he comes to surprise Bianca with flowers for the opening after getting her permit. Sometimes you got to use what you got to get what you want. He's greeted by Tiff, not so glowingly. And Tiff is speaking all types of out of turn. It was very off-putting for everybody to be scared of this nigga. And maybe you're fed up, and so you just like whatever. But I didn't even like how he was talking to her. He's so powerful. If he would have done something to you in that moment, then what? You telling Duda that Bianca called their relationship transactional, not just as stupid and ridiculous, but you're breaking like code. Because even if she told you that, why would you repeat that to him? You want to hurt my feelings, you want to dig, but why would you do that? You didn't consider what position that would put me in.
Now I can't honest. Yeah, I've been trying to find an answer to that question, and I can't rationally think of one because I wouldn't do no shit like that.
That part.
And that's why I asked earlier if it was emotional, because that's the only thing that I could think of that would make her do it. Even then, you're out of pocket for it, but that's the only reason, because it wasn't necessary. You can hurt Duda's feelings in other ways. You went to something that was just strictly, and you don't even know for sure if that's going to hurt Duda's feeling, other than make him look away or feel away, or look at things a little bit funnier. But one thing you don't want to do is give up the game.
That part.
And there's been a lot of game giving up, for lack of better terms, throughout this episode. And it was just confusing. Like, why, you hear the term all the time, it's chess, not checkers. Mm-hmm. And everybody seemed like they were trying to play checkers on the chessboard.
It's crazy.
And I'm like, why are you showing your hand? Like, why are you letting the whole table know you got the big joker? Like, just kind of set it up and let everything fall how they may. And you're right, Bianca. I do want to highlight that. That was one of my favorite parts of the whole episode. Like, I don't fuck with Duda. What's that got to do with me? I saw you in here with him. What's that got to do with you? Like, what are we talking about?
One thing I cannot stand is a motherfucker minding my business. I don't give a fuck. As somebody who dabbles with people they mostly shouldn't, don't worry about what the fuck I'll be doing, sweetheart.
Hey man, what Smokey saying Friday? Don't worry about me and what the fuck I be doing.
Period. It was Tiff has gotten on my nerves when we've met her over the course of her tenure on the show. But she pissed me off today. It was the first time I felt like she was childish. Like,
it was 100. Yeah, great call. Great call.
And yes, Duda's responsible for your boyfriend being shot. Absolutely. Howsoever, you've got to use a bit more couth. You have to know first off, this. I have a question, because this is one of the continuity issue things for me. This designer weed, Air Gold, that Tiff and Rob have created, and now Nook on his business, that was supposed to be a secret and an aside from Duda, because Rob still sells for him as well. So this luxury line is in this store that you're in partnership with Duda's paramour. How
Hmm.
the fuck does all of that work? And for Bianca and Alicia to be publicly speaking to Nuck, who I thought that him taking this deal with Rob or making this threat to Rob this, to save his life, I thought that shit was a secret.
It's supposed
I
to be.
thought this side money that Duda, this is outside money that ain't nobody supposed to be knowing what's going on. So again, why is everybody being so loose lips? Everybody is so self-righteous this episode, and it's throwing me off.
Continuity. I think that's what it is because we were made to believe that this is it discredits who Duda is. It discredits who all of these characters are.
Yes.
Um, I'm cool with people wilding out on television shows as long as they stay true to who you made them out to be.
Yeah.
And Duda is someone you wouldn't know if I'm Nook. The last thing I want getting back to Duda is that I have made my own side deal. I know the person that took a shot at you,
That part. And he's
and
still
I
alive.
made a. He's still alive. I got the drop on him and didn't bring him to you, and I'm making money off this nigga, and I'm not cutting you in. And that line of work, everything's supposed to go uphill. You know what I mean? If I made a side deal, then here you get your cut, or you
That part.
get brought in on it, whatever the case is. So it doesn't make sense, like you said, that I'm casually checking in at your spot, knowing does nothing know about Duda and Bianca.
He has to.
Yeah, it has to, right? Like knowing that at any moment, which we saw in this episode, which is the whole Tiff moment with Duda, knowing at any moment that Duda can just pop up.
That
And then
part.
it's what you doing here? Like what's going on here? Even if you can play it off in real time, like I was just passing by or wanted to check out the cigar, whatever. It's just too much. Dude is gonna start asking questions and it make you look a little funny in the light.
Mhm.
So yeah, I didn't like that either. I didn't like that either. What did you think about speaking of Tiff? Well, let's get to before we get to Bianca pulling Tiff to the side. Let's talk about Emmett going to Tiff, looking for advice about, hey, Duda wants me to kill Alicia. I don't want to do it. Alicia pretty much is saying, like, look, like Alicia crazier than him. Excuse me, Tiffany. Tiff
Mhm.
is just pretty much saying, look, Alicia crazier than him, but I'll go ahead and take you up to her if that's what you need. What do you think about that whole plan in general of Emmett's?
It's harebrained. It's stupid. Like, I don't understand what anybody is thinking. Essentially, Alicia is still Tiff's quote unquote mother-in-law for
Mm-hmm.
all intents and purposes. We already know you're not a shooter. We already know you don't make good business decisions. Why are you putting yourself in more turmoil potentially than you're already in? More than it's worth. You gonna rob Peter to pay Paul, and Patrick gonna blow your head off.
Straight up. Straight up.
I just don't understand it. And even with Tiff asking, what did Keisha say? I don't want to be in between y'all stuff. I said this last week or the week before as well. Everybody is too close. You need some other friends. And yes, Tiff knows her a little bit better than you, but she just met the bitch too.
Mm-hmm.
So for her to be like she crazier than Duda, who y'all all thought was just Mr. Nice Man Otis Perry a few seasons ago, clearly the bitch is nuts. You need to stay away from that because you can't handle this monster. So you definitely can't handle that one.
So yeah, because everything that Tiff is getting is like either from Rob or just from the small things she's witnessed.
Hmm.
In theory, and you said the answer, what the real key issue is. In theory, if you're Emmett, you really don't have too many other options, right?
Hmm.
Let me bring this to the table and kind of see how it shakes. The main issue is that Emmett ain't built for this life. None of it.
That's the problem.
None of it. So he's in over his head. And
Mhm.
even the meeting with Alicia, her even asking, like her, there's so many times she flexed on him in that meeting.
For sure.
It's not the problem that you like want to kill me or you can't kill me. Like for one,
Yeah,
you can't. Like you ain't got it in you.
that
We've
part.
seen that already. I know that for a fact. Alicia even asking like, why do you want to be under anyone's thumb?
That part.
Like what part of the game is this? You admitting that I'd rather be in your pocket than his
Why?
lets
You
me
know
know
this lady.
you're not. And not only that, even if you do have some upside, you just killed it. I see no value in you at all
That
because you're
part.
just a work. Like you're not anyone who can actually. Worst case scenario, and if I'm thinking long term, once again, chess not checkers, which you have to think chess when you're somebody like Alicia, when you're someone like Duda. I see how you act when compromise comes.
Mhm.
It's the old theory of I'm not gonna date the girl who cheated on her boyfriend with me because she probably gonna cheat on me too if the situation comes up.
For sure.
You know what I mean? If I'm Alicia, if somebody press you too hard, what's to say you ain't gonna set me up? Because here
That
you are behind Duda's back, and I appreciate it.
yeah.
He made a good point. Like that doesn't serve you to go to Duda. Like it doesn't serve you. Like this is the play. But I know this play is strategic for your well-being. It's not for the grand picture. You don't care about me and my interests. So don't
Mhm.
come in here acting like you trying to do me some favor.
Yeah.
All right, you want me to put you in my Hermes bag? Then cool, I can do that. But I'm gonna need something from you. I'm gonna need a piece of Smokies,
Mhm.
and trust me, you're gonna want to get out of this soon too. So
That
now I got
part.
to keep an extra eye on you because I know you're gonna find a way to get out. But you're not smart enough. And once again, chain reaction. It all boils down to Emmett is way over his head, and I don't know how he gets out of it, except for somebody having to die.
That part. And here's the other interesting part to that. When we see Darnell talking to Rashad about Alicia, he indicates that all her business is not on the up and up. Now, mind you, Darnell also knew about Duda, aka Otis Perry. You need to ask the elders, ask your motherfucking daddy about these people because they know this is a problem with the youth.
Straight up, we
You
losing
don't know
recipes.
it, and you keep getting yourself in more and more trouble. And if you would just listen to somebody with some experience and who actually know these people and their way around the gun, actually, you might be better off. I'm sick of
We
these
lose.
niggas. I,
We losing recipes. Straight up, you were right. They are not paying attention to the
losing
people.
recipes.
I mean, nah, because that's. I think my biggest issue right now, Rachel, is they're very they're being very flippant with life or death situations.
Yes.
These are intense. This isn't some small shit or something. I might get beat up. The goons might come get me or whatever and send a message. This is like I told you straight up, bro. I will kill you. I will
Yeah.
kill you. And depending on how I feel, I might not stop there. Your
Yeah.
family might get touched too. Like I've already shot up Smokies. I've already showed you I'm not playing with you.
Name one nigga in the hood you know play like that.
Exactly. They've been telling this for years. That's the game. And for you not to get a little and Emmett, all right, everybody has some strong suits.
Yeah.
Everybody has them, right? For Emmett not to think about what his are and how they might be used to his advantage, and his strong suit is his connections. You
Yeah.
know people that know him. You know people that know how to maybe move a little bit. Let me ask them some questions. What would you do in this situation? I know you don't want to bring everybody in your business, but like I said, this is life or death. You got to figure out how to outmaneuver and how to outsmart him.
That
If you
part.
were in my situation, why not go to someone like Shad? And like, if you were in my situation, what would you do? Or whoever. Like, it doesn't even matter. It's just that you moving sloppy,
Yeah.
and
Very much so.
you deserve. If Emmett getting rocked, I'm not gonna feel bad for him at all.
Nope.
I don't think you rock a nigga like Emmett. Because we all know that he's in over his head.
Mm-hmm.
But if it happens, I'm not surprised. And
Yeah.
what was really gonna piss me off, Rachel, if it happens,
Mm-hmm.
what's really gonna piss me off is if Emmett comes up with this master plan to get rid of one or the other. If Emmett's this like strategic genius all of a sudden and he's really playing both of them, I might be upset at that because there's
Yeah.
nothing about him that shows that he's capable of doing that.
Yeah.
We all see Emmett a mile away. But however, it is almost he's obnoxiously naive. And it's to the point where like, is this believable? Like he's got to have a plan, right? So it's kind of one of those things.
I really want to know how old they're supposed to be. We've guesstimated, but it's really starting to bother me now, low key.
20, 23, 24?
24, yeah.
At the latest. I think he's younger than that. I think he's 22.
Mm-hmm.
Because he had his first kid in high school age.
Right. So I don't know. Tricky. I'm sick of them. But you wanted to talk about Bianca pulling Tiff up. I hated how Tiff was dressed. I wasn't sure if Alicia told her where she was. Why do you have on this fucking pleather skirt? Fucking liquid leather at this benefit.
Shout out to Wilson's.
You're dumb. But shout out, like, come on, Leather Emporium. I don't understand why she had that on. And I would think that if Alicia truly is trying to take her under her wing and bring her into high society, then you would dress her. You would make sure that she looks a little look like she belongs.
Not only that, Rachel, I'm surprised there wasn't a comment about it.
Me too.
Once again, it just goes to, and we're not going to spend these next 4 weeks beating up on the show and its mishaps. There's no show that's perfect. Obviously, we're fans of the show. And I think part of us being disgruntled, not even disgruntled, that's too strong. I don't even think we're disgruntled. I just think, we know what it is and we're invested in the characters. I've never known the Shy to be, I don't want this to sound like a knock, to be prestige TV.
Yeah.
I've always looked at it as entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And that's what it is. Like the same way we enjoy, the original Power and all that stuff, as good as it was in this early season. That's another show I think will be a decent comparison. When you go back and you watch, or if anybody does this, when you go back and watch season 1 and season 2, maybe even season 3 of the original Power,
it was realistic.
And then you get to season 6, it's a completely different show. And I think a lot of if I checked Reddit for that time, I'm sure we would get a lot of the same stuff. Like it was just starting to lose its way.
For sure.
That doesn't mean I'm going to stop watching it. So I like I said, I don't want to make it seem like that. However, you would think if they paid attention to a little bit more details, there's no way Alicia's not making a comment of, hey, like, what do you have on? Or B, next time you're invited to an event, anything I invite you to, you come in a step.
You need to look. For sure.
Come in a step. And step in a certain way. Elegance. Like there's an elegant step. And once again, Tiff is young. Maybe she don't know.
Right.
But yeah, it definitely seemed like she was dropping something off and leaving. It didn't seem like you were a guest at this event.
Exactly.
And then we have Bianca pull up. Bianca looking like she belongs there.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have any issue with Bianca having that conversation there? Was that the right time, right place?
I'm gonna put you whenever I see you.
Yeah, definition of on site.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, definition of on site. And I'm someone who can speak. As someone who doesn't get bothered too much, if I am bothered, I can't hold that shit in. I can't. Yeah. I can't play I'm going to talk to you later about it, especially if I run into you somewhere. Now, let me holler at you right now.
Yeah.
I'm going to pull you to the side. and I don't think it was overly aggressive. She was mid conversation, however, it was a need to talk to you. Wasn't no grabbing of the arm or nothing like that. And Tiff looking genuinely surprised, and it just
Because you
goes.
don't know them people to even be playing with them like that.
You don't know them people to be playing, and I love how Bianca said, like she set the table for him. Look around. You think all these women got here by doing that shit?
Right.
Like I'm out here, and I'm out here making these these transactions for you
That
to
part.
help you out. Like, what are you on? Why you dragging my name? And what the fuck do that got to do with you? How
Questions
do you
that need answers. It doesn't make any sense.
how do you feel about how Duda went about that, leaving the money on the nightstand?
I wasn't mad at it. He's a petty nigga, but for real, that shit hurt his feelings.
Yeah.
Even though he fuck with Bianca, even though we know that he still wants Tracy, but he does fuck with Bianca.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
for this to be what you telling this little young bitch of all people, ain't no telling what you saying to people who actually matter. He was saucy. I felt bad for him in that moment because I thump you on your fucking forehead, but not on
uh,
it is what it is.
we talked. You and I have had a conversation once upon a time off
Mm-hmm.
off podcast. Just about. I told you, Rachel. I said certain people, men specifically,
Mm-hmm.
speaking from a man's perspective, there are certain men who are shocked at the idea of someone not wanting them or someone not um, bending over to their needs
For sure.
or being above the moon or above the stars when it comes to their adoration for them.
Mm-hmm.
Um, lamest terms, man, you ain't on my dick enough.
Yeah, for sure.
And when you ain't on a person like that dick enough, then the pettiness comes out
For sure.
because they don't know how to deal with that.
We
That's new to them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, what you mean you ain't? What you mean it's a transactional? You, especially when I think there's part of Duda that, like you said, you ain't even my first choice for real.
That
Like
part.
if I can get Tracy back, I'm out of here. Like, it
That
ain't
part.
no thing. Like, and I'm not even gonna be. It's not even gonna be a thought to me. I'm not even gonna have to make this Sophie's choice.
That part.
Like, this is very easy. So whenever you feel like you got played by somebody that ain't even got the power or
That
the
part.
right to play you,
That part.
yeah, man. Once again, you looking funny in the light.
Yeah.
And there's a certain point because if we were younger, right? If this was a couple 20-year-olds, 22-year-olds, 23, they were Emmett Tiff's age and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
There might be a part of you, if you're Duda, that's like you might just be saying that shit, whatever.
Yeah.
When you reach a certain point of life, and this has nothing to do with age, this is just about experience and what you've
Yeah.
realized. You reach a point when some people say shit is not because of anything other than it's the truth.
Yeah.
Like Duda knew there was no reason for Duda to even question Bianca if that was true or not.
Mm-hmm.
Because at first, for a brief second, my mind went to damn, like, how did he handle this well? Should he have played that to the vest? Should he have maybe questioned or maybe made it, hey man, so I talked to Tiff, she said this, that, and the third. But like I said, those life experiences let you know, like, nah, there's no reason for Tiff to say some shit like that if it wasn't true. And the fact that Bianca knew what it was and she didn't even try to defend it, even further proved that point. And I just thought it was hilarious.
But what am I supposed to say? Oh no, baby, that's not the truth. My face is actually on the floor that you did that shit to me.
Yeah.
I'm about to get up and chase you. No, I know how you are. Okay, you mad. I have to figure out how to smooth this over. In the moment, it is what it is. But that bitch, I'm gonna get her together real quick. Trust.
Yep. And it sucks because anytime I think of money on the nightstand, I think of Boomerang.
Mm-hmm.
And that's completely different because Duda did this because of some shit you said to him. This nigga was
Yeah.
leaving. He was leaving.
Yeah.
He was on his way out. she don't even like you like that. She don't even fuck with you like that. Like, you're not even cool with me enough to speak for me on my behalf. That's some
You know,
Destiny's Child's girl shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's some girl. That's that shit. Like, I have enough stock in this person to where
yeah,
I can speak on her behalf. Like, you
yeah.
don't even know what's going on with me and Doodle.
But
As I told you
speaking on
earlier.
her behalf to her, I'm speaking to my girl, not to your nigga that you fuck with.
Right.
It was so unhinged to me. I get mad every time I think about it. And I mean, I was just in a similar situation. I told somebody something like asking them, and now you went back to the person and got my shit fucked up. You know what I'm saying? Like, what the fuck is wrong with y'all? Y'all crazy?
So then you play
But
the telephone game, and then what was said ain't even how I said it. It wasn't even what it was meant. But now you spending time explaining what you really meant, and it's just too late. Like, you know what? It wasn't even all
it
that.
doesn't matter.
It
It
don't
is
even
what
matter.
it is. So I don't know. I don't know how she fixes this because I don't know. Do we have a written contract? Because I might not want fucking high gold or air gold in my cigar lounge. I might want to figure some other shit out. I had the permit. It don't have to be just for air gold. I can find some weed.
Yeah, but if you selling this bud for five racks a box,
This set. Everybody is resourceful. And now that I know that Nuck is involved, he can figure the shit out. I mean, maybe not all of the execution, we saw that, but he can learn. You know what I'm saying? He can find out the fucking irrigation metrics and all of that shit that y'all are using because you played too much. And the reality is, Bianca ain't been on the up and up since we met her.
that's a fact. Speaking of speaking of Bianca, real quick, I just want to ask you this: did you read into anything with her holding Trig's hand like that?
Oh,
Anything more than I need that permit?
it wasn't just a friendly, it was a what can you do for me? Like, how can I help you? I can make you feel a little better too. Yeah. She do what she want. Use what she got to get what she want.
I got you. I got you. Just
Yeah.
rushing that permit. All right. All right. We
I
gonna
can
see. I'm going. I'm folding for Bianca too, so I ain't mad. Shit. What's up? What kind of transactional relationship you want with me, Bianca? What's up? What can we set up?
listen.
Those are my favorite types.
I got
Transactions.
that.
All right, where we going next?
Um,
Shy. We can talk about Shy real quick.
yeah.
One of my favorite moments in the episode. Um, First, we have Shy. We see him in his role as head of security
Hmm.
when Tiff and Emmett come to see Alicia. On his 1-2, being professional about it, which is one of the weirdest things to do when you know people, and you
Hmm.
still have to put on this professional front. Like, all right, you can wait in the living room.
Yeah.
As I've said numerous times, how you do one thing is how you do everything.
That
So I
part.
do appreciate him being as professional as he can, or as he knows how to be. Even given the semi pat down, yeah, you can let it slide, but the fact that you even made the effort, Alicia wouldn't have known. But like I said, it's how you do it. But the main thing for me, and one of my favorite moments of the episode, was Shot and Darnell.
Hmm.
We had a conversation about this last week, Rachel,
Yes.
and we talked about the jacket.
Hmm.
And Darnell, this is 100% how men/friends, however you want to word it, interact with each other.
Hmm.
It's not terribly invasive, but we're gonna ask some questions and then take it from there.
Yeah.
So Darnell, I got a big job next week. You went in on it. Now I got this job working for Alicia. You talking the shit like, what you over there securing? You gonna be your gigolo? Cause he knows what it is. And I love the matter of factness. A shout out to, like, you have to be, which is what we said earlier. Use your resources. Use the people who've been around for a while, who have ran these streets.
For sure.
I love how it didn't even like it. There was no other option for Darnell than, oh yeah, that's probably one of our old niggas.
Hmm.
Like, from the 80s. You might want to check if it's got coke in there or whatever. Like, just I know what time it is.
That part. The
He's
jacket
definitely
is old style wise and it's wrinkled. despite the fact that it's been hanging up in that closet. I
Listen,
know it's another nigga shit.
he said it so matter of factly, and that's what I love about that's that generation gap. Cause
For sure.
Shad is up here on some, he's trying to look fresh on some
Mhm.
shaft shit, and this nigga Darnell, like I said, just casually as he's as casually as you say, you know, it's 9 o'clock on Monday. He's
Yeah.
up there, yeah, definitely one of our old niggas. Yeah, look like some hand me down shit. You definitely rocking a hand me down. Like told him,
For
you definitely
sure.
rocking a hand me down. Looks
Yeah.
like it's from the '80s. Just inspecting it. This nigga is shy. Like damn, what the fuck? And as we mentioned, I'm not getting in your business, but I'm just letting you know all her business ain't prospering. It ain't always on the up and up. Just
Mhm.
be careful, my nigga. Like be careful what you got yourself into. The deeper than rap,
For sure.
and just have your head on the swivel. You should be doing that already as security, but even more so because of who you're dealing with.
For sure.
It's easy to get in, it ain't easy to get out. So you attaching yourself to her hip, there's a lot of shit that comes with that. And I really
Exactly.
appreciated the game that he had when it came to that.
I need to be telling your son the same thing, but he don't even know.
You don't even know it, man. That was pretty much it for Shy. Shy didn't have a ton of stuff going on until we get to the end of the episode. Trig, obviously, big storyline when we end this episode with Trig. Do you want to go to Trig right now? Do you want to go to say yeah?
We can trick.
All right, we could Trig. City council meeting. Trig has finally become a politician.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about his overall arc and where he stands with things? And how does Trig how does he bounce back from this? For those who don't know, obviously, or you do since you watched the episode, the end of this episode ends with Trig getting arrested for murder,
Mm-hmm.
as we predicted or as we knew was coming. Is there any bounce back for Trig when it comes to this?
Uh, Alonso will have to do his very, very, very big one to get Trig out of this. Now,
Does it matter? Is he already guilty in the court of public opinion? And will it even matter? Obviously, it matters for his life, but I'm talking about him as a politician, city council member, all of that. Do you think that's a wrap?
well, it depends because now that he's rolled over all of his beliefs and sided with the mayor's proposal for the police budget, concessions have to be made. You greased my palm. I did what you asked. And now I need somebody to look out for me. So potentially there could be, but beyond getting arrested, I think that his whole ploy or shtick had been the community policing and all of that we saw in season 5 and the first part of season 6. So as far as his constituents, the trust factor has was already pretty broken by him even by him agreeing to side with the police. But the reality is that his nickname is Trig. You can be Victor all day long, but niggas in the community know who Trig is. So they're not super surprised that you killed somebody else.
That's fair. That's fair. That's fair. Do you think it has any impact overall?
Uh,
Or
mm,
you
I don't know yet. I don't know
Yeah,
yet.
we don't even know if Trig's gonna get bond. We don't know if he's gonna be out for the remainder of the season. We don't know what is gonna happen. So
Yeah, it'll be
that's
interesting.
yeah,
They
that's gonna be something to keep
friend's wife, so
yeah, that's gonna be something to keep an eye on. I don't know. It's almost like the business of him siding with the mayor doesn't matter.
mhm,
I know they've been setting it up and discussing it, but it doesn't matter at this point because what matters is
you
he's gonna
going
fight for his life. Yeah, you're going to jail. You're going to jail now.
to
So it just kind of it is what it is.
Yeah.
So I don't even know if we need to spend too much time on his decision to go ahead and become a politician because it's all null and void.
Mhm.
Um, I do want to talk about Papa as
Papa,
well briefly. So All right, let's start here. Let me ask you this, Rachel.
Okay.
Papa is playing Uno
Mm-hmm.
with Kenya
Mm-hmm.
at Smokies, and he lets Kenya know that he's going to take her dad's job offer, which Kenya is not sure of.
She didn't even know he offered her a damn job.
Didn't
Off-
even know. Let me be the first to say this. Let me be the first to say this. If unknown person comes up to Rachel and tells Rachel, "Hey, yeah, I'm gonna start doing a couple things with Kyron. Got a couple projects going on," and Rachel's response is, "Be careful." I would be heartbroken because
Yeah,
what?
for sure.
That's extremely telling that you say that about your father. Be careful. And I do like the way Kenya kind of flipped everything when Papa made, hey, maybe they're wrong about your dad, or maybe my dad was wrong about,
But he was right about me.
but he right about me. Okay, like, all right, you once again you moving funny in the light, but whatever. We've been talking about Papa wanting to find his own steps in his own direction. He seems unsure about this new path. He
Mhm.
knows in his gut and in his spirit that something's not right about this, but
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and move forward with it anyway because let me give it a fair shot. What do you think as a whole of Papa, where he is, his sermon, and the influence of the pastor?
Papa done got his ass in the lion's den, and he might have a clue, but he don't really know it. Pastor Zeke is gonna turn him every which way but loose. He is a demon. Um, and I feel bad for Papa. I mean, you gotta learn, but he manipulated him, and we saw Papa figure his message and change it to be to mix what he would maybe say at his own church to match the will flow identity of Pastor Zeke's church and the whole business of the prosperity preaching, and I'm giving financially, and I am a tither. I am. I believe in the principles of that, despite whatever, in this case, the pastor Zeke may or may not be doing with the money. I know what I gave in good faith to and of. Howsoever, Papa is still young, but I wish that there was another person. Like, your daddy ain't have no deacons or cool associate ministers, nobody else who would take you under their wing. And I understand the lights are bright and the allure of bright lights. We want to see Papa's pulpit expand and maybe have this demographic. I can pull these parishioners to listen to my show. You know what I'm saying? Like, I
Yeah.
understand. And he's young and sheltered and doesn't know that this is a wolf in sheep's very expensive clothing.
And, does that surprise you at all that he doesn't see this?
It's not that he doesn't see it. I think he doesn't all the way understand it and understand what he's seeing.
Okay. So when you say it like that, does that mean is he trying to justify it in his own way? Like, do you think he knows it's wrong, yet I'm trying to see the good in it because this is a man of God, and I'm not going to talk down or bad about not only a man of God but a leader of a church?
I think he just doesn't understand it yet.
Okay.
I understand, yes, you're spreading a prosperity gospel, but look at you. You're dressed nice. This church is completely full. It's packed. They've got mime hip hoppers. Uh, the music is 808s and heartbreaks. You know what I'm saying? It's
Mhm.
lively. It's appealing to my demographic and what I want to do. Whereas my church is a storefront, small, ain't nobody in here but us and a handful of other families. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, very boutique style.
So to see the differences juxtaposed against each other, I could see how somebody, especially a young 18, 19-year-old, would see the allure of this, especially if now you have more money than you've ever had in your life and taking this job where you only work at Smokies. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You don't have any other real experience. So he's gonna unfortunately learn a very hard lesson. I hope we know Pastor Ezekiel is going to do something, and he has a very menacing look to him. Um, a very dangerous man, taking advantage of the Lord's people. Can't stand him.
Nah.
But I'm anxious, and I'm sick of Tatiana ass. I don't care how cool you are. Belly shirt in church is wild, especially as a
Listen,
first lady.
let me tell you right now. All right, listen. This is gonna sound crazy. It's gonna not crazy, but messed up. But I understand Jake, man. Like she out here moving crazy,
She's
but
moving nuts. I don't
she moving
expect.
crazy. But at the same time, like I'm folding too. Like God forgive me. I'm probably gonna fold if you throwing it at me like that.
I mean, a lot of men would.
Because and part of it, and I'm not listen. The last thing I would ever do is hint at how a woman should dress or carry herself or any of that. However, we're talking about the Lord's house. There is a certain way
Mm-hmm.
you should be representing your position in the church.
For sure.
And the way Tatiana's doing it, like I said, this is just a traditional stance.
Mm-hmm.
How you want to do it on your own time. If you want to make your own rules, by all means, do that. Who am I? But if you're a real goal to bring people to the Lord,
Yeah.
you're sending out a lot of mixed signals when you dress like that, when you're flirting with the young boys, all that. You know what I mean? It just seems like a lot. There's just a lot of dysfunction. There's a lack of unity in the church. Even when King is talking to Zay, and we get a little bit more of a sprinkle, which
Mhm.
once again, I think this is what people were commenting on earlier. Like, why does it feel like everyone has to have a storyline?
Yeah.
We see the Zay Kenya thing
Aisha
going
got
somewhere.
one. We ain't seen her in since the first
We
episode.
we ain't seen Maisha since the first episode. Hopefully she comes back. I'm sure she will, but hopefully they give her something to do with these last four.
Yeah.
But Zay just, I can't believe he got Papa. I can't believe they got Papa. Your father's a charming man. Like,
Mhm.
not charming enough for me to write a check, but, because they see it. He knows what it is. Like, I see
He
the game.
knows a scammer when he sees
Yeah.
one.
Like, I see what it is. Like, and you know what? I respect the hustle. I
Yeah.
respect the jokes. Like, you know what I mean? If that's what you're going to do, that's what you're going to do. You ain't going to get me.
Right.
But if you get other people, by all means, get your money, black man.
If
Get your money, black man.
I hate
Um,
it. I hate it for Papa. I'm interested to see what happens and how he navigates this world, but it
Pop,
makes me sad. I don't want him to do that.
low key, Rachel. This is one of the storylines that I'm looking forward to the most for the
Mhm.
last four episodes.
For sure.
I want to see an episode of um, what's his podcast name?
Papa's
Papa's
pulpit.
Papa's Pulpit. I want to see an episode of Papa's Pulpit. I want to kind of see how his time at the church has impacted his overall message
Mhm.
and what's gonna happen because we know something's gonna happen. To maybe change Papa all the way or to get him back at his home church and get him
For
back
sure.
with an alignment with what his dad would preach.
For sure. For sure. That has to happen. Um, that's what I want to happen, ideally. Now, if they make Papa have like church hurt and turn away completely, I'm gonna be pissed.
Yeah.
But I'm pissed, but not surprised that that's where they decide to take the storyline. But I would like to see him remain in the fold.
Yeah, and I think that's two and that's well, it's realistic if it happened.
Yeah,
He's at the age where, there's been people who are turned off by church because of people like the pastor and
for
because
sure.
of things, messages like that.
For sure.
Not feeling like you can trust the man that's leading you when it comes to your spiritual, guidance. I get it. So it could happen. We'll see. I don't know. I want a soft landing for Papa. I want him to. I'm very curious to see where they take it with him. Um, I think the only other thing that we haven't discussed really is
Bianca.
Duda. Yeah, Bianca Bakari and then Duda. So
Let's end it with Duda. So let's do Bianca and Bakari.
okay.
Shout out to. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I just say shout out to her finally doing her fucking job, going to see about Bakari.
Part of me feels like that wouldn't even work.
What?
Because, and the reason I say that is because if I'm going to finally do my job and I'm spying and I'm, reporting information, you shouldn't have to, as Duda, you shouldn't, and Nuck, you shouldn't have to come look for me. That's
Yeah.
something I'm going to find you and say, hey, I checked in, here's what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
You ain't running down the studio like you Big Red and kicking people out and all this other shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, nah. So it seems like part of it was, yeah, I need to check in, but also like part of it is you are my brother.
Yeah.
And I am curious about your well-being and what you've been up to in the whole nine.
For sure.
I told you, and I'm sorry, Rachel, before you go, I told you I was worried about this damn book.
Yeah.
I'm not the only one worried.
Clearly Brittany is worried, and now we know Duda is worried because she told him. But before I even think about that, it was peculiar to me to see that despite us knowing that they were separated at some point in time, that they ain't that close.
Yeah, not at all.
There is some feelings of abandonment and resentment there. So that makes Brittany's job even harder because yes, I'm your sister. Yes, it's good to see you and we love each other, but you don't really fuck with me like that
Mm-hmm.
because I had to leave or I left you. I didn't come back for you. Whatever happened, I'm more curious to that story and whatever happened in foster care, which I can only imagine is some sort of abuse.
Of course, yeah.
That's the story that interests me in regards to them. Him telling her about the book was interesting. And now, because Duda's drunk ass said something to me about it, you would be the only possible person who would
I,
share this information with him.
I was going to say that for the Duda portion. We can
So,
talk about it now. When at the very beginning of this episode, I talked about Duda moving in a way that just didn't make sense to me.
mhm,
Showing his hand too early, playing checkers on the chessboard. Excuse me. This was one of those moves where it just seems like you said it perfectly, Rachel. Duda's drunk. He's paranoid.
mhm,
You do this for a while, you make a lot of enemies, and it's hard to know who around you can trust.
yeah,
And we know as viewers that there are already some side action, some side deals that Duda's not aware of. Not necessarily full blown betrayal,
yeah,
but close to it. It's leading this way.
mhm,
For you could tell Duda's not on top of it because Zay is in the car and saying she got time to make music but not do her job. And
mhm,
Duda's like, who? Like, bruh, you should know exactly who we talking
yeah,
about.
yeah.
Who are
But
you
the interview
paying?
sound good, so maybe he ain't realized that was Brittany ass.
Yeah. But as soon as Zay said something, he should have put two and two together. It just seemed like he was a little bit off
He's
of what
off
he
his
should be on.
game.
Yeah, he's off his game for sure. The second is for the life of me. How do I want to? All right. Even if you look at it from the investment point of this,
Mhm,
you paid Brittany 30,000.
mhm,
Why would you ruin your own investment by showing your hands and snapping on Bakari about writing a book? Because, like you said, Rachel, that was the number one thing on my note sheet. Nobody else would have known this information but Brittany. So
Not even.
how in the world do we expect Brittany to spy on Bakari when you just took away whatever trust that was there?
Yep.
How do
Which
you
was
flip this?
already minimal.
Already minimal. So now you really ain't about to get shit. So now what's your move? What's your next play?
I don't know. And you've turned Bakari away from his allowance.
Which is
Which
crazy.
this is kind of a thing that bothered me because to Lene's point, you don't pay no bills nowhere.
Yeah.
Why you don't got no money? If you've been working for the biggest drug dealer, kingpin, car thief, whatever, what are you doing? You got to eat. I see you at Smokies. That's the only restaurant on the South Side.
It gotta be, right? Ain't no heroes on the south side, no nothing.
Nothing. Where is your money that you've been being paid that Pastor Jackson lost his life for? You ain't got no $1,300 for a laptop.
Right. That was a little odd. I chalked that up to the game as far as like just the writing or whatever, so I wasn't gonna make a big deal. But that was one of the first things I thought. Like, damn, bro, like what do you pay for? Like
The
we don't
next
even see we,
shit.
we we don't even see a little homie who you helping out on the side.
We don't see you taking Lene out on dates past prom.
Yeah.
She'll be sitting up in her room like Brandy.
I might listen to that. I might listen to that once we finish recording.
I'm concerned. I'm concerned.
Do you feel like Lene's mom's gonna let him live there?
No.
Is that Bakari's out? Is Bakari's out? Now that he knows that Duda's got the drop on him, obviously that's gonna have to be a conversation with Brittany. Maybe Bakari realizes that I have reached my maximum potential with this organization, and it's best for me to bow out gracefully. I'm writing this book. I'm with the professor. I'm looking at going to college. Remember when Lene asked, he said, well, Duda ain't going for that. Well, stop working for him. Is that his out, or do you think it's going to be a little bit more complicated than that?
It's for sure going to be a little bit more complicated than that. And is that Lene's mom or is it Kev's mom? Because I thought her mama was gone. And she said my mom, but I didn't know she was talking about Nina or what, because it didn't make a lot of sense to me. But she's not gonna let him live there. If she does, it'll be mercy due to like missing Kevin and then Dre being out the house too, you know. So
Yeah.
just wanting, and especially if you've agreed to stop being in the streets, however long that lasts for, maybe, but I don't really see it.
Yeah. I don't either. I think we covered pretty much everyone and
Yeah,
all the
we
major events. I don't I'm a tad bit concerned, Rachel,
mm-hmm,
because we only have 4 episodes left.
mm-hmm.
Um I want us to get from A to B.
Yeah.
We're doing a lot of zigzagging to get there. I don't see a clear line or a clear end for what's going to happen to these characters. It feels like there's a lot that they have to do in a very, short span
Limited.
of episodes.
Yeah.
They've been tagging, the tagline for this season is "Who will reign."
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, between Duda and Alicia, that tagline for the season would make me believe that one of them has to go
Yeah.
by the time season 6 ends, and I just don't see how that happens. I don't see the scenario in which one of them is out of here. I don't, and like I said, the only thing that could happen and the only thing that makes sense is that we already know season 7 is happening.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know if it's the final season. That has not been announced.
Correct.
In my opinion, it should be.
Mm-hmm.
And if it is, Alicia gets killed, and the entire season 7 is the downfall of Duda and how we get there, because Duda's gonna get his. By the
Yeah.
time this series is over, Duda's gonna get his. He does not get to walk away free like Marlo Stanfield, right? He's got to get his. He's caused too much chaos, too much havoc in the city. He deserves street retribution.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only way I see this going. I just don't know. Have we gotten the most out of Alicia's character for her to be going in the next 4 episodes? I don't know.
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know.
I don't know. I'm very interested in what they do with these next 4.
You and me both.
Anxious as well, but interested nonetheless. I don't know. I had a point, but I forgot it. It was something about Alicia dying, but hopefully not. Yeah, I don't know. Sorry, I lost my train of thought.
No, you're good. You're good. To your point, as we wrap things up, last week we said, hey, we don't have any Duda,
Hmm.
so it's probably gonna be a little bit more action packed this week. I don't think it was.
Yeah,
Um, I will say this is it's I don't know. I don't know. I'm gonna hold off on that.
yeah.
So all I know is that next week's episode is titled Legacy.
Hmm.
So we'll see what goes into that. Makes me believe the first thing I think of when I think of Legacy, it makes me think of
Leon.
um, yeah, it makes me think of Leon.
Hmm.
It makes me think of Ronnie,
Hmm.
Keisha's son.
Yeah.
Because obviously we know they're trying to get some answers about some genetic stuff.
Hmm.
And Duda as a whole, maybe Bakari. A lot of characters are in the position. Papa
Yeah.
are in a position where they are, and it sounds crazy at such a young age for people like Papa and even Jake, for that matter, to think about their legacy.
Yeah.
But it also makes sense, and obviously Trig and what happens with Trig. I don't think you put a character like Trig behind bars.
Yeah.
Um, I think realistically, if this show was if it had the room to put him in jail for a few episodes, I think they would.
Hmm.
Given there's only 4 episodes left, house arrest. I just don't think this. I think you need Trig outside, even if it's not outside. I don't think you can have him locked up right now. I think there's too many things that are centering around that character to
I hear.
where because they don't for what we know, and I think this will be a good flex for Leon,
Alonso.
Alonzo, excuse me, yes, thank you, Alonzo Esquire. I think this would be a good flex for him to maybe we see a bail hearing and Alonzo flexes on him. It doesn't seem like they have a ton of information.
Yeah.
Maybe this is the beginning of putting this on Duda. Who knows? I just can't see Trig in jail. And if he is, I can't see it more than 1 or 2 episodes. I really think that he's out on bail. He's on house arrest because you can't be accused of murder and still showing up at city council meetings. We'll see. I don't know.
Do you think that part of Duda's drinking is paranoia about this murder, about this case?
No, because I think a nigga like Duda has always believed that there's going to be a fall guy for me.
Hmm.
I've caught enough bodies in my life to where that shit don't even phase me anymore. I think that he should be concerned, but I don't think he is.
Yeah.
I think he's more so worried about the evil he can't see.
Hmm. Hmm.
The people around him and making sure everybody else is on point. He's just not on top of his game right now.
Yeah. Everybody's out to get him, and he's has to reconcile that.
Rightfully so. Rightfully so. All right, Rachel, you got anything else you want to add?
I don't. Shout out to the shy.
Shout out to the shy.
The next week is uh more action packed. Or we
Yeah,
get
we'll see.
to some questions.
We'll see. We'll see. I know we started the episode. Like I said, I started the episode bringing up the Reddit. That's not something I normally do. It was just surprising to me to see so many comments in the negative sense about the shy. It is what it is. We still enjoy the shy. We're still going to continue to discuss it.
For
We're going to
sure.
discuss the rest of this season, and we'll be back for season 7,
Yep.
especially if it's going to be the final season. Um, for those of you, thank you for tuning in with us, especially if you're watching on YouTube. If you see that my picture changed or the audio changed a little bit, I had some Wi-Fi issues, so I had to get off of the laptop and record from my phone. gonna get this cleared up because this happened last week as well. I don't know what's going on because everything says it's right, but technology is only cool when it works. So I'm gonna
Sure.
holler at Spectrum and make sure we get shit together. For those of you who follow us at the Culture Garden, we will be having a new episode this week. We also had a great conversation last week with our boy Maurice. A good conversation with Rachel and myself. Just in case you want to know about, know more about us as individuals, you can subscribe to the Culture Garden feed and listen to the last episode. Um, all of our content will be in our link tree in the episode description. With that being said, 4 more episodes of The Shy before we roll into House of Dragon and everything else we'll be talking about. It is a pleasure to have these conversations with you, Rachel. Not just about The Shy, but just to have you in my life in general. It is such a pleasure. And for all of you out there, we appreciate y'all. We would not be able to do this without you. Much love to y'all. We will catch you next week to discuss The Shy,
Yes.
Season 6, Episode 13, Legacy.
Yeah.
We out of here, y'all.
Be cool, y'all. Peace.
Peace.